Part 136. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 1351. Jun didn't hide anything, and made it clear that Wen Qiao supported them. The two girls were moved to tears. When Sulu received the notice, she was so angry that she went to find Yao Zhangmu and asked Yao Zhangmu to put pressure on the orchestra. She is unwilling to be lower than Wen Qiao in everything. She has already sacrificed herself to accompany the old man. Can't it bring her some privileges and conveniences? Yao Zhangmu coaxed her, forget it, don't go against the Fu family. Be good and don't be disobedient. Sulu's eyes, which were originally full of resentment, suddenly softened. She was just a lover. If a lover was disobedient, he could always change to a new one, a more obedient one. In this fragile relationship she chose, she could only be an obedient one. The caged bird maintains its appearance. She can't make trouble unreasonably, and she can't let Yao Zhangmu get bored with her. This kind of support is completely different from those in idol dramas or novels. Is there no uniqueness in her? How can she firmly restrain Yao Zhangmu? If Yao Zhangmu had some leverage in her hands, could she be willful? Lu Yuyu has been staying at Wen Qiao's house these days, saying that she and Wen Qiao want to catch the anti-fans together. Lu Yuyu almost lives on Weibo, following almost all Zhou Tao's big fans, and found that 3 of them like to set the rhythm the most, and one of them is also a famous host who talks a lot. This kind of person is very influential in the fan circle. Some younger fans sometimes cannot listen to rational advice, because the words of these skinned black fans are very inflammatory. In the name of doing good for their idols, they doing a lot of extreme things will, in the long run, kill your idol. Lu Yuyu found out these 3 big fans. Each of these big fans is a big V with more than 100,000 fans. Wen Qiao looked at the 3 ids and said, let me check their IPs. It doesn't matter if you check this. Each of these 3 girls has another account, and another account is chasing Zhen Yunyun. That is, a popular female star who is also a top female star. Lu Yuyu punched the wall, I knew someone was instigating it. Zhen Yunyun's fans were engaging in infernal affairs. By chasing Zhou Tao, he was able to accumulate 100,000 fans. He also received a lot of promotions. He made a fortune by relying on Zhou Tao. He didn't forget it. The original master, yes, is sincere enough, but their followers on Zhou Yunyun's account are not as many as those on Zhou Tao's, so why are they so sincere? Wen Qiao raised his eyebrows, it means that Zhen Yunyun's studio has direct contact with these people. They must be professional fans, the kind who pay salaries. Lu Yuyu gritted her teeth, shameless. It's so shameless. You can't defend yourself against someone with such a black skin. Well, we must ensure that the Super Talk host, the anti-gangster group, and the president of the support club are all our own, and don't let the sunspots take advantage of them. Don't worry, I will immediately ask the anti-gang team to target them. These people will be expelled from the fandom. Because Wen Qiao had already found out their respective trumpets, this was a naked overturn. After receiving the report, the anti-gangster team did not dare to neglect and quickly hung up these 3 people. There are still many big fans among the fans who are rational fans. Many fans were originally dissatisfied with the 3 black men. Now the evidence is so direct. Those fans who were led to the rhythm have woken up and said that their previous trust was wrong. Paid. Those 3 big fans couldn't believe how they were exposed. They had never made any mistake in logging into the wrong account. So how did Zhou Tao's team and fans find out? Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 1352. But no matter what, if it overturns, it will overturn. These 3 big fans were quickly put on the hot search. The related Zhou Tao and Zhen Yunyun were both included in the hot searches. Zhou Tao's fans were filled with indignation, thinking that these three were professional fans of Zhen Yunyun's family. Zhou Tao's fans cursed Zhen Yunyun. Zhen Yunyun's fans were not to be outdone, saying that this was a matter for these three fans, so don't drag our sister into trouble. At this time, I have to take the blame. Even if I am really a professional fan, I can't admit it. The online scolding war raged. Lu Yuyu spent money to remove Zhou Tao's hot search and asked fans not to curse. Her family, Zhou Tao, wants to be a powerful actress. She has a lot of traffic and a large fan base. Even if this matter is reasonable, if she doesn't follow her, if you go around swearing at people, it is easy to lose the favor of others, so you must stop when you see good things. Zhou Tao's name was removed from the hot search list, but Zhen Yunyun's name remained on it for a long time. Moreover, her fans are more fierce than Zhou Tao's fans. Any marketing account's Weibo post is full of criticism from Zhen Yunyun's fans. Praising Zhen Yunyun in a fancy way, and detailing her TV performances and achievements is the most annoying mode of criticism by passers-by. Lu Yuyu asked someone from the fan operation department to inform the fans and give up the criticism. Zhou Tao was originally the victim in this matter. No matter how Zhen Yunyun's family tried to distance themselves from those gangsters, netizens felt that this matter was inseparable from Zhen Yunyun. Coupled with her family's crazy criticism, it aroused the resentment of passers-by, who rushed to Zhen Yunyun's Weibo to scold her. Her fans used to be very fierce in fighting, but now they could no longer control passers-by. The people in the front row were all scolding her, so she could only ask the staff below to delete the comments frantically. Later, the TV series Crescent Magazine and the editor-in-chief of V Magazine posted on Weibo, saying that this TV series is about fashion. Fans don't have to worry, it will definitely not be earthy fashion, and it will definitely impress fans and audiences. One light. Zhou Tao's fans all woke up and felt that this was a spy movie, and they were almost led by the opponent. Fortunately, the gangsters were caught in time and did not cause any harm to Zhou Tao. But they still have some opinions on the male protagonist Zhuang Heng. They said, if the TV series is not popular by then, it will definitely be Zhuang Heng's fault. Zhuang Heng. It's a bit stressful. Wen Xiao sent another greeting note to the Xiao family, but Xiao Lianjun still said that he was still recuperating and it was temporarily inconvenient to see guests. Wen Xiao felt helpless and asked the other party when he could meet her. She had something to discuss with him. The other party stopped responding and did not give her or Fu Nanli any face. Wen Xiao held up his forehead. As expected, the difficulty increases. I thought Lin Lang was already difficult, but I didn't expect that there would be even harder ones. Fu Nanli put down the document in his hand. I will take you to a dinner party tonight to relax. Fu Nanli took Wen Xiao to a wine tasting party. Coincidentally, Yuan Qinglang, the second young master of Yuan, also attended. Yuan Qinglang didn't know that Fu Nanli would go. His project in Shangri-La was successfully completed, and he only paid a small price. For a piece of land in Xinjiang that no one has shit about, he really made a fortune this time. Once the project went well, he inevitably got a little carried away. At the wine tasting party, he boasted about his experience with a business partner. Is Master Fu really in control of the Zhonghuan group? Yuan Qinglang asked. There will be an update tomorrow, come and take a monthly pass, Mua. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 1353. Of course it's true. The old man has stopped taking care of things a long time ago. Yamingkai was in charge before, but now the young master has a firm foothold on the board of directors. His strongest opponent Gao Liujun has been expelled from the board of directors by him a long time ago. Now Zhonghuan must be Fu. The young master takes control with one hand. Yuan Qinglang sneered, I'm worried for Zhonghuan group. The friend was confused, how do you say this? Everyone in our business circle admires Mr. Fu's handling skills. He is really not easy to mess with. He is very evil. Yuan Qinglang looked contemptuous, really? He helped me deal with the Shangri-La resort before. Do you know what he wanted in return? What? Our family has a piece of land in the barren land of Xinjiang, and he actually wants that land. What's wrong? Does Mr. Fu want to change his career to become a melon farmer and sell cantaloupe? Ha ha ha. Coincidentally, when Yuan Qinglang said this, Fu Nanli was passing behind him with Wen Qiao in his arms. Yuan Erxiao's friend's face suddenly changed and he motioned for him to say a few words, but Yuan Qinglang became more and more enthusiastic as he spoke, turning Fu Nanli into a fuss. Devalued to the point of being worthless. Don't bother second young master Yuan, please worry about me, Fu Nanli suddenly said. Yuan Qinglang, who was so arrogant just now, is now so cowardly. He quickly apologized in embarrassment, Mr. Fu, I was joking with my friend, don't mind. Fu Nanli put one hand in his trouser pocket and didn't even bother to smile and reward him, I have other uses for second young master Yuan's land. Second young master will know about it after a while. After saying that, he didn't bother to talk to him anymore, and walked inside with Wen Qiao in his arms. Yuan Qinglang was so frightened that he collapsed. His friend advised him, you should say less in a place like this. If it reaches his ears, you will be in trouble again. There is a feud between you two. Although Yuan Qinglang was unhappy, he knew that his friend was telling the truth, so he quickly kept silent. In the small private room, the person in charge of the wine tasting party came over personally with several bottles of red wine. Mr. Fu, Miss Wen, please taste these. If you like them, just tell the waiter. Qin Bei waved his hand, and the person in charge withdrew. Wen Qiao asked him, so where do you plan to use that land? Fu Nanli's lips curved, it should be soon. You will know in 2 or 3 days. 3 days later, when Wen Qiao and Fu Nanli were having breakfast, Fu Cheng hurried back in the dust and dropped a pile of information, all the geology has been explored. There is indeed an oil field under those 2,000 acres of land. The formalities and qualifications, everything is ready and ready to be mined. Pop, the chopsticks in Wen Qiao's hand fell on the dining table, making a crisp impact sound. Oil field. Is it the oil field she understands? So the Yuan family guarded such a cornucopia, but only used it to grow cantaloupe, and used 2,000 acres of oil fields to replace it with a resort that went smoothly. Is he a bit crazy? Oil field, how did you know there was an oil field there? Wen Qiao was puzzled. The Fu family was building a signal tower foundation in a nearby mountain range. By chance, a worker dug up something that looked like oil and told his boss. When it came to me one by one, I asked someone to check it out. Discovered that there is probably a rich oil field hidden deep in the melon field of the Yuan family. Wen Qiao couldn't help but applaud Fu Nanli. He was able to hide it so well without letting Yuan Qinglang see any signs or leak any news. The people under him could be said to be absolutely loyal to the Fu family. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 1354. Otherwise, once this news leaks out, Yuan Qinglang will definitely not sell the land. Yuan Qinglang will probably regret it until his intestines turn blue if he knows about this. Fu Nanli chuckled softly, let him regret it. Fu Chendao, all the qualifications have been obtained and approved by the superiors. It can be made public. Fu Nanli nodded, well, there will be official media going to interview. You go there in person. You know best what should be said and what should not be said. So, when Yuan Qinglang, the second young man of the Yuan family, learned from the news that there was an oil field underground in his 2,000 acres of land, he was so shocked that his jaw dropped. Oil field? That was a mountain of gold and silver. He could have done nothing, just guarded the piece of land left by his ancestors, sold the oil to others, and collected the money while he was there. What real estate, what resort, compared with the oil field? Pediatrics. He almost went crazy. Fu Nanli must have received some news early in the morning, otherwise he wouldn't have wanted such a piece of land. And what about him? He actually thinks that Fu Nanli is stupid, crazy, and really stupid. Yuan Qinglang's breath was stuck in his throat. He couldn't get up or down. He really couldn't swallow this breath. He felt that he had been deceived by Fu Nanli. He couldn't let go of this overwhelming wealth and hand over the wealth to others with his own hands. Because he is developing projects in China, he has been living in China during this period, and his close subordinates are also here. He called the best people in his public relations department and asked them, "How can I get this land back?" His heart was almost bleeding. He wished he could turn back time. What if he had known that there was oil underground earlier? He also regretted that he had spent so many years growing melons on those cornucopias, which was a waste of natural resources. Why didn't he think about mining them underground earlier? It's all the fault of that profiteer Fu Nanli. He is so treacherous, he is cheating, yes, sue him for cheating. Fu Nanli quickly received a letter from the Yuan family's lawyer, and Fu Cheng even laughed angrily. Second young master Yuan thought he was playing house. After the contract was signed, he regretted it again and wanted to take the things back. Is he underage or what? Then let him do the hard work. As long as the public relations is good, don't let him take any advantage in terms of speech. No. Taking the legal route, Yuan Qinglang definitely has no chance of winning. It is written clearly in black and white on the paper. No matter where he goes, he, Yuan Ershao, will not be able to win. Yuan Qinglang actually knew what he was doing. On the one hand, he wanted to take legal channels, and on the other hand, he planned to make a fool of himself online. He invited the media to visit him, and made all kinds of misfortunes, implying that Mr. Fu had taken away his land, implying that Mr. Fu was cunning, and the city was deep. When Fu Nanli saw this interview transcript, he couldn't help but chuckle. If I remember correctly, not long ago Ershao Yuan said that I was stupid and was being taken advantage of. How come he changed his tune in a few days? Fu Chengle said, I thought that the land was worthless before, so of course I thought you were stupid. Now that I know there is something more valuable than a gold mine hidden underground, are you going crazy in a hurry? When you are in a hurry, you speak indiscriminately. Fu Cheng, you are also being interviewed. You know what to say. Do not worry. Fu Cheng is very good at dealing with the media and knows what the general public wants to hear. He answered netizens' questions clearly and clearly. Of course, he did not mention that Fu Nanli had known about oil underground before, but only said that he originally planned to build a wind power project there. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 1355. He also said that Yuan Qinglang's project in Shangri-La had a big problem, and he came to ask Master Fu for help. After Master Fu helped, he asked Yuan Qinglang to pay something in return. Yuan Qinglang agreed to transfer a piece of land in Xinjiang, and there was a contract. As evidence. But when Mr. Fu received the land and started preparing for wind power generation, he suddenly discovered that there was oil underground. This was an unexpected coincidence. Netizens are divided into two groups, the vast majority of whom support Fu Nanli. Young Master Fu is a handsome man with a kind heart. He helped Yuan Qinglang and only got a piece of land in return for digging out oil. He deserves to be rich. That's right, Yuan Qinglang is willing to give anything when someone asks for something. He is stupid. He has been guarding the land for many years without discovering the treasure underground. When someone discovered it, he regretted it and signed the contract. Adults must have the spirit to fulfill the contract. Young Master Yuan, give up. This wealth is destined not to belong to you. It has no chance of being with you, so don't force it. Of course, there are also those who support Yuan Qinglang. After all, Master Fu has many enemies in the celebrity circle, so of course they must take this opportunity to suppress him. Is there anyone who doesn't know about Fu Nanli's high status in the city? I think he had his eye on other people's oil fields early on and took advantage of that opportunity to occupy them. I agree with what was said above. It was definitely carefully planned. I pity Yuan Ershao for his naivete and fell into the trap of the old fox. The online scolding war is in full swing, and some marketing accounts have even opened a vote to decide which side to support. Fu Nanli defeated Yuan Qinglang with an overwhelming advantage. I'm willing to admit defeat. No matter what the reason is, this land belongs to Mr. Fu now. There is a contract to prove it. If you, Mr. Yuan, feel that you have been wronged, you can only swallow your tears and eat it. Just don't be so stupid in the future. Yuan Qinglang struggled a lot, going through judicial procedures and engaging in cyber violence, but he couldn't shake Fu Nanli in the slightest. The Fu family's oil fields have been successfully exploited, and they are making money every day. Yuan Qinglang suffered from insomnia for a long time. He was so angry that he couldn't eat or sleep. There was no choice but to go to Fu Nanli in person. At Xiaotangshan Club, Fu Nanli and Wen Qiao were having dinner together. Qin Bei ran in and said that second young Master Yuan was here. Fu Nanli slowly cut a piece of deer tenderloin and put it in his mouth. We'll talk about it after I finish eating. Yuan Qinglang waited in the hall for an hour. The longer he waited, the more angry he became. Fu Nanli was neglecting him and perfunctory him. An hour later, he was led by the bodyguard to Fu Nanli's private room. It was a large room with a small bar on the right, a dining room on the left, and a play area in the middle. Fu Nanli sat on the dark red sofa, taking time to look at him. What's the point of doing this? He would ask questions knowingly. Yuan Qinglang was no longer too lazy to pretend to be polite and asked him straight to the point. Did you know that there was oil under our land early on? Fu Nanli chuckled. I don't understand what you are talking about. Young Master Fu, stop pretending to be stupid with me. You must have known this a long time ago. Otherwise, how could a city like you want a piece of worthless land? Fu Nanli raised his eyebrows. Young Master Yuan just said that I have no brains not long ago. Why did he suddenly change his tune? Yuan Qinglang choked. It was because he was stupid and ignorant. He actually thought that Fu Nanli had no brains. He was the one who was really brainless. A businessman cannot afford to start early without profit, and Fu Nanli was the most treacherous businessman. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me. The boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 1356. Tell me frankly, did you know about it early on? How could Fu Nanli talk to him heart and soul? He lazily leaned on the sofa, stretched out his long arms, and said indifferently, I really don't know. Didn't Fu Cheng say everything when he was interviewed? He originally planned to do wind power generation, to coincide. Yuan Qinglang was furious. You lied. How much money can you make from wind power generation? For a person like you, would you do something without profit? What kind of philanthropist do you think you are? Fu Nanli's face darkened. Young Master Yuan really wants to make such unreasonable troubles. Yuan Qinglang was going to collapse. That was an oil field that was making huge profits every day. It was given away from him in vain. He regretted it to death. How can you return that piece of land to me? I'll trade it with you for something else, okay? I can give you whatever you want, including resorts in Shangri-La, small islands in Southeast Asia, and even some shops in Europe. I can give you whatever you want. Fu Nanli's face was sinister. Young Master Yuan is already in his 30s this year. How come you don't know that a contract written in black and white has legal binding effect? Don't say such things, lest others think that young Master Yuan likes to betray others, and there will be no such thing in the future. No one dares to do business with you. Yuan Qinglang suddenly lost his mind and rushed over to beat Fu Nanli. The young master of the Fu family came from a wealthy family and was pampered. He had never encountered such a crazy person. Wen Qiao, who had quick eyes and quick hands, grabbed Yuan Qinglang's arm and punched him in the stomach. Yuan Qinglang groaned. Wen Qiao held his shoulders again, threw him over his shoulders, and all the glass shattered. Yuan Qinglang's body hit the bar, and finally fell to the ground, groaning in unspeakable pain. Qinbei and Song An's reactions were not as fast as hers. Qinbei was ashamed. It was time for him, the chief bodyguard, to abdicate in favor of someone more worthy. Damn it! Yuan Qinglang screamed, you hit people, I will sue you for beating them. Fu Nanli stood up and came over, hugged Wen Qiao's waist, glanced down at Wen Qiao, and said in an indifferent voice, let him sue. The video of Yuan Qinglang suing Fu Nanli's girlfriend for treating him violently appeared online at the same time as the video of Yuan Qinglang looking for Fu Nanli. Yuan Qinglang was stunned. He never expected that Fu Nanli was under surveillance in his private room. It wasn't surveillance, but just knowing he was coming, Wen Qiao set up a camera to record Yuan Erxiao's every move, just in case. Unexpectedly, it actually came in handy. The video clearly shows how Yuan Erxiao made trouble unreasonably, forced young Master Fu, and finally got so angry that he wanted to hit someone. Fortunately, Wen Qiao reacted quickly, restrained him, and beat him to the ground in one fell swoop. The internet exploded again. Yuan Qinglang really thinks of himself as a primary school student. He beats people when he disagrees with him, but he even complains first. It has changed my understanding of wealthy young men without comparison. There is no harm in such a comparison. Mr. Fu is really quite educated. Did you see Wen Qiao punch? She's so fast. I really didn't expect her to be so good at Kung Fu. The young lady is so beautiful and sassy, I love her so much. I think this is called self-defense, and Yuan Erxiao is being unreasonable. Too shameless. Yuan Qinglang received a call from the police and confirmed that Wen Qiao was indeed in self-defense and did not constitute excessive defense. He just threw him to the ground without any punches. If he insisted on suing, he would definitely lose the case in the end. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me. The boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 1357. Yuan Qinglang was going crazy and realized that he might not be Fu Nanli's opponent. He would have to suffer this hidden loss this time. He regretted it. If he had promised to understand Fu Nanli's urgent needs in Dubai, would everything be different now? Therefore, no matter how much Yuan Qinglang acted stupid, that oil field could not be shaken at all in the end, and it was still firmly owned by Fu Nanli. His reputation on the internet has even become very ugly. Netizens say that he has no spirit of contract, that he has no ability to discover oil fields, and that he is jealous of Mr. Fu's fortune. In short, whether it is through judicial channels or public opinion wars, he was no match for Fu Nanli. He also knew that if he continued like this, he would really make Fu Nanli angry, and he would not end well, so he could only temporarily leave Haikan in despair. This incident made Wen Qiao realize that in business, brains are as important as luck. Fu Nanli had both, so he should be rich. Fu Nanli helped Wen Qiao acquire two big brands before, and Wen Qiao learned a lot about design from the chief designer Ms. Vivi. Vivi discovered that Wen Qiao was not only a model figure, but also a natural clothes hanger. She was also very talented in design because she was already good at drawing. Vivi specially tested her and asked her to submit several design drafts. She also said that if she designs well, this year's D-brand catwalk show will feature dresses designed by her. When Fu Nanli came back, he saw Wen Qiao sitting on the terrace painting. The dusk light outlined her like a painting, so beautiful that people couldn't bear to break the tranquility. He pushed open the small door of the terrace and saw that Wen Qiao seemed to be drawing a skirt, with a one-shoulder design, flying skirt pieces, and the pattern on it seemed to be the Milky Way. Is it the Milky Way? Wen Qiao nodded. Well, the theme is the universe, with elements such as the Milky Way and meteors. Because you study astrophysics, you have such inspiration. Fu Nanli was subtly satisfied. Well, although I don't know anything about fashion, I intuitively feel that it looks good. Wen Qiao picked up a few manuscripts. Look at the other drawings I have made. I can finish them all today and then send them to Vivi. Fu Nanli looked at her manuscript and she continued to sketch with a pencil. How long did it take to paint? I took the time to draw a picture in a week, and I felt quite inspired. She designed 7 sets of main dresses in 1 week, each with a strong personality. She could design one in almost a day, and she was bursting with inspiration. After she finished painting the last dress, she took a photo and sent it to Vivi, but she didn't take it seriously after that. If Vivi liked it, she would be the best, and if she didn't, she would treat it as her own practice. Although Fu Nanli gave her the D card, she just had a false job and had no hope of doing any design work. I went to the mansion to visit my grandma again on the weekend, and met the Sun sisters. The 2 sisters were very happy and said, we are going to see a show next week, and it will be held in Hiken this year. Thanks to Mr. Fu, he bought 2 top brands at once, so now Hiken has become the 3rd largest fashion city after Milan and Paris. Many first-tier brands will hold fashion weeks in Hiken. Wen Qiao didn't even raise his eyelids. Oh, congratulations. Sun Qiang said proudly, we also received an invitation letter from the D brand. Wen Qiao, that brand is now in your name. How is this year's clothing design? First line big names are gathered in Hiken, so we can't mess with the big names. The face. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 1358. Fu Nanli's eyes were light and careless. Don't worry about her, you will see her talent when the time comes. The 2 sisters, Sun Qiang and Sun Wei, secretly exchanged glances. Their cousin had spoken, and they did not dare to say anything more. I just heard important news and saw her talent. This means that this year's D-brand catwalk show will most likely have clothes designed by Wen Qiao. The 2 sisters did not dare to say anything at the dinner table. After getting off the table and returning to the car, they burst into laughter. Is my cousin crazy? Not only did he give her 2 big names, but she is willing to keep her own integrity even if she has a false position. She actually doesn't know how to do it and designs it herself? Who gave her the courage? Because she is pampered by her cousin, she doesn't know how high the sky is. This year, the most harsh and venomous fashion bloggers are coming to the show. Let's just watch her jokes. A week has come quickly, and this time the fashion show is all about clothing, so another luxury bag brand owned by Wen Qiao did not participate in the fashion show. Wen Qiao sent invitations to several artists in the company. Fang Duo, Tong Wei, and Zhou Tao all came, but the male artists couldn't get away, so they didn't come. Lu Su's fans made a fuss again, saying that Wen Qiao favored female artists and that such an important fashion week was being held in Hiken and they would not let their brother come back to watch the show. Today's artists pay great attention to fashion resources. Wen Qiao had a headache. Lu Su was currently filming in Africa. The role was very heavy and the director was strict. So if he was forced to come back just to watch the show, wouldn't it be disrespectful to the director? Wouldn't it arouse the director's resentment? Lu Yuyu was so angry that she wanted to fight those fans for 300 rounds. Do you have any brains? Is the movie more important, or the fashion resources? And Lu Su's fashion resources are not bad, why do you have to come back to watch the show? Fang Duo comforted her, forget it, there are always a few fans who are not so clear-headed, and there are people who are stirring up dissension in the middle. There is no separation in the rice circle. It happens every day. Let's not be like them. At the show, Wen Qiao and the others were naturally watching the show in the front row. Coincidentally, the Sun sisters were sitting right behind her. The two sisters were whispering behind them, their voices not too loud but not too quiet, just enough to reach Wen Qiao's ears. She will be embarrassed today. Many important people in the country's fashion circle have come and been thrown into the international arena. I also lost my cousin's people. Hey, our cousin doesn't care. We bought it for her to play with. She really takes herself as a person and actually designs it herself. Lu Yuyu wanted to quarrel again, but Wen Qiao held her hand down and said, okay, the show will start soon. You don't need to be familiar with them. The lights gradually dimmed. The lights in today's catwalk venue were a simulated universe, ethereal and romantic, immersing people in the graceful astrophysical world. Zhou Tao's eyes lit up, it feels good. Wen Qiao smiled slightly, and the first model stepped out to the music. The all-over purple gauze skirt has one shoulder. The Milky Way seems to be flowing on the skirt. It is ethereal and beautiful, integrating the mysteries and mystery of the universe. The tailoring design of the skirt, combined with the cold temperament of the model, and the coordination of the lighting, are so perfect that it makes people laugh. Can't take my eyes away. Lu Yuyu almost screamed, Qiao Qiao, did you design it? Oh my god, it's so beautiful. You actually have talent in this area. The two sisters at the back originally planned to laugh at Wen Qiao, but they were shocked speechless by the first dress. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me. Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 1359. This is definitely a super high-level design, not falling into the cliché, fashionable and generous, cleverly conceived, and the skirts are flying, making people unable to help but indulge in it. The second set and the third set, as well as the finale dress, every one of them is very eye-catching. There are a total of 20 brands of large and small fashion during the Fashion Week. Today's design can definitely be said to be the best and highest level catwalk show. The final dress featured a meteor shower falling on the skirt. With the lighting, the meteors went from dim to sparkling to fleeting. The short tea stage went through the meteor's short life. Such a wonderful design simply made all the audience present exclaim and marvel. When the show ended, thunderous applause broke out in the show venue. Vivi walked onto the catwalk, took the microphone, and said excitedly, let's invite today's chief designer, Miss Wen Qiao. The Sun sisters' faces were ashen and they even wanted to leave the table early. Wen Qiao gracefully walked onto the stage, and there was endless applause. Fu Nanli came late and stood at the door of the show, watching the flowers and praises pouring towards her, and smiled softly. His Qiao should stand in the spotlight and receive a flood of praise. Wen Qiao just bowed and didn't even take the phone to say a few words. She didn't know what to say. Vivi had full authority to speak for her, our Miss Wen is a new designer. Among the 20 sets of dresses today, 7 were designed by her, and it only took 7 days, almost one set a day, and each one was designed by her. The quality of the set is extremely high. Those in the fashion circle below couldn't believe it. The Sun sisters were surrounded by Wen Qiao's compliments, and everyone was praising her. Sun Qiang whispered to Sun Wei, "I think someone helped her design it and let her name it." Sun Wei said bitterly, "I think so too. My cousin dotes on her too much and has lost his mind. It's just a vixen." Vivi praised Wen Qiao in a fancy way. She kept praising Wen Qiao for 5 minutes without repeating a word. She was so amazed that she finally met such a talented designer in this field, so she suddenly turned into a talkative person. "Can you tell me what inspired your design?" Only then did Wen Qiao have some desire to speak. He took the microphone, looked at the tall man at the door of the show, and said word by word, "My inspiration comes from my boyfriend." The Sun sisters rolled their eyes and almost rolled their eyes to the sky. No wonder her cousin doted on her so much. He really knew how to say nice words. No man would want to listen to such flattery. "My boyfriend studies astrophysics, so he designed these dresses inspired by the universe." The muse stood there, looking at her with a slight smile. At the end of the catwalk, the venue was in a commotion. Sun Qiang and Sun Wei walked out cursing. When they looked up, they were startled to see their cousin and quickly said hello. Fu Nanli glanced at them indifferently, as if they were strangers. Sun Qiang and Sun Wei left the venue angrily, saying bitterly, "My cousin was also indifferent before, but not like now. Wen Qiao is so powerful. It's very windy next to the pillow. We can't offend her in the future." Sun Wei gritted her teeth, "I hate the kind of poor girls who climb up from the bottom the most. They are very scheming and talk like they do. Everyone thinks they are good, but in fact they are full of bad things. Don't worry, I think she will overturn sooner or later. Amnesiac Bigshot remembers only me, the boss lost his memory and only remembers me." Author, Ding Jiashu. Chapter 1360. That's right, her design today is definitely ghost-written. I must find evidence. Backstage, Vivi smiled without restraint. "Xiao Wen, a lot of ladies and celebrities came to me just now and wanted to book the haute couture dress with me. Today's show was such a success." Wen Qiao put his arms around her shoulders, "It's also your fault. Don't worry and let me try it. I designed it boldly. I'm sure you can rest assured. You are now the boss. Mr. Fu bought it and gave it to you. You can design it however you want. Frankly speaking, I didn't have any hope at the beginning. I even acted as a backup and designed it myself. But after I got your draft, I discovered that you are really talented in this area, so I replaced all the main ones with yours." Wen Qiao didn't care. "Thank you, Chief Designer, for your appreciation. This year we are the most outstanding in the entire show. Just wait and see, our dresses will definitely appear most frequently in various dinner awards at the end of the year." Wen Qiao left the show, and Fu Nanli was waiting for her by the car. The midsummer night breeze ruffled her hair, and Fu Nanli looked a little lost. Wen Qiao stepped forward and took his arm. "Muse, let's go." Fu Nanli hugged her graceful figure and got into the car together. The gilded light was flowing in the carriage, and Fu Nanli's satisfied smile seemed to be semi-permanent. Being able to be mentioned by her in front of everyone's attention, the inner satisfaction was indescribable. Wen Qiao rested on his arm and looked at the man's handsome profile. "Designing clothes is quite interesting. Then I did the right thing. I bought those 2 brands and gave them to you. Wen Qiao, I was originally worried that I would ruin your good intentions and make your 2 cousins even more dismissive of me. Fortunately, you gave me inspiration and this year's show was very successful. Next season, she wants to design men's clothing. She wants to take his measurements and make a handmade suit for him." Fu Nanli touched her face. "Every set is beautiful and suits you very well. Oh, by the way, I sent a greeting card to the Xiao family again, and the Xiao family has agreed for us to visit." Wen Qiao's eyes lit up. "I finally agreed. It was morning when Wen Xiao and Fu Nanli went to the Xiao family. The Xiao family lived in Yushan in the west. The villa on the mountainside was also a wealthy mansion. As expected, any brick thrown in the sea city could hit a billionaire. They were sitting in the side hall waiting for Xiao Liang's banquet. The vegetation outside the floor-to-ceiling windows was particularly lush, blocking the sky and not even the sun could penetrate. Wen Xiao looked around. Because Fu Nanli was there, the Xiao family's housekeeper was very polite to them. Because their family has many children, Xiao Lianjun has 3 sons and 4 daughters. The eldest son is 28 years old and the youngest daughter is only 8 years old. Each child is assigned a servant, plus those in the kitchen, those who clean the house, and those who manage the courtyard. The Xiao family has dozens of servants, making it a really big family. After waiting for half an hour, Xiao Lianjun came down from upstairs. Fu Nanli's face was a little gloomy. There were only a handful of people who asked him to wait. Xiao Lianjun is in his early 50s. He is well maintained and looks young. He has a bad complexion and fair skin. He wears gold-rimmed glasses. He looks like an intellectual. At first glance, he is not someone to be trifled with. Xiao Lianjun smiled and came over to shake hands. Fu Xiao has been waiting for a long time. The smile was superficial, not sincere, and completely transparent to Wen Xiao, as if he hadn't seen her at all.